She bit me after I healed her. Now her alien tribe says I'm their alpha. The crash was not loud. It was quiet, sudden, and final. The human ship tore through the upper clouds and slammed into the red soil of the planet like a wounded animal. Metal screamed once, then everything went still. Smoke drifted upward into the pale sky. Inside the broken cockpit, Ethan Hale did not move for a long moment. Pain slowly returned to him. His head rang. His chest felt tight. A warning light blinked weakly on the cracked control panel. The ship was dead. No signal, no rescue coming. Ethan pushed himself up and looked around. The planet was wrong. The sky was too bright, the air too sharp. Tall stone pillars rose in the distance like broken teeth. Strange plants with thick, dark leaves grew between the rocks. Everything looked strong, built to survive violence. He checked his suit. Damaged but usable, oxygen stable, medical kit intact. That mattered, because Ethan had learned something important long ago. On unknown worlds, survival depended on calm thinking, not strength. He stepped out of the wreck and scanned the area. No movement. No sound except the wind. Then he saw the blood. Dark, thick drops led away from the crash site, disappearing between jagged stones. Ethan hesitated. Following blood on an alien world was dangerous, very dangerous, but he followed anyway. The trail ended near a shallow cave carved into the rock. Inside, something large lay still. At first, Ethan thought it was dead. Then it breathed. The creature was female. He could tell by the shape, even though she was not human, taller than him, even lying down. Her body was covered in short silver-gray fur. Her arms and legs were long and powerful, ending in clawed hands and feet. Her face was sharp, with glowing amber eyes, one of them swollen shut with injury. Blood soaked her side. She had been torn open by something stronger than her. Ethan slowly raised his hands to show he was not a threat. The alien female growled weakly, her body trying to rise, then collapsing again. Pain forced a low sound from her throat. She was afraid. And alone, Ethan looked around the cave entrance. No other creatures, no signs of a pack. "They left you," he said quietly, though she could not understand his words. He knelt carefully, keeping distance. In his mind, logic argued against him. This is not your species. You do not know their rules. Helping could get you killed. But Ethan remembered Earth, wars, borders, people left behind because helping was too risky. A warning growl echoed in her chest. Ethan stopped. "It's okay," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." He cleaned the wound, applied sealant, used pressure to stop the bleeding. The alien hissed and trembled, but she did not strike him. Minutes passed, long, tense minutes. Finally, the bleeding slowed. Ethan leaned back, exhausted. The alien female stared at him. Her breathing steadied. The pain in her body lessened. Confusion replaced fear. Then, suddenly, her jaws closed around Ethan's forearm. Pain exploded through him. He cried out and fell backward, instinctively pulling away. Her teeth pierced his suit and skin. Blood flowed, human blood this time. The alien released him and scrambled away, panic flashing in her eyes. She did not attack again. She fled, vanished into the rocks, moving far faster than her injuries should allow. Ethan lay on the ground, breathing hard, staring at his bleeding arm. "Great," he muttered. He sealed his own wound, teeth clenched. The bite was deep but not fatal. She was scared, he told himself. That's all. Curious ones. Far away, the alien female ran until her lungs burned. She reached her people near dawn. Her tribe froze when they saw her. They had left her behind after the battle. She was injured, slow, a liability. Survival demanded harsh choices, but she returned alive, more than alive, marked. The elders surrounded her, sniffing the air. A deep silence fell. They smelled him, foreign. Strange, soft, but strong. The bite mark on her jaw was clear, sacred, ancient. The eldest female stepped forward, eyes wide with something close to fear. "A healer," she whispered in their language. "One who touched death and turned it away." But instinct knew more than the mind. The elders raised their heads to the sky. "The bond is made," one said. "The Alpha has been chosen." Yet the feeling of being watched stayed with him through the long night. His scanner showed multiple life signs moving slowly around the crash site. They kept their distance. No sudden charges, no attacks. That scared him more than aggression would have. At first light, Ethan stepped out of his shelter. They were there. Tall shapes stood among the rocks and tall plants. Dozens of them. Alien beings similar to the injured huntress, but larger, stronger, and fully armed with claws and hardened bone armor along their shoulders and chests. A pack. They watched him in silence. Ethan raised his empty hands. He did not reach for his weapon. He did not run. Running would mean he was prey. He took a slow breath and stood still. One figure stepped forward. It was her. The huntress he had healed. Her wounds were sealed, wrapped in rough natural bindings. She walked stiffly but proudly. Her glowing eyes locked onto Ethan's face, then dropped to his arm, where the bite mark still showed beneath the sealed fabric. A low sound moved through the pack. Not anger, recognition. Ethan felt his throat tighten. She approached him and stopped an arm's length away. Slowly she lowered her head. It was not submission, it was acknowledgement. Ethan did not understand her culture, but even he knew this was important. The others followed. One by one, the entire pack lowered their heads. Ethan's heart pounded. This is a mistake," he whispered. The huntress lifted her head and placed her clawed hand against her chest, then pointed at him. She made a short, sharp sound and touched her jaw where she had bitten him. Then she stepped back. The pack closed in around Ethan, not touching him, testing him. A large male circled him slowly, sniffing the air. Another growled softly, waiting for fear. Ethan forced himself to stay calm. Fear would break everything. He remembered training drills, first contact rules, respect space, show calm. No sudden moves. The largest elder stepped forward. Her fur was pale, marked with scars of many seasons. Her eyes were sharp and old. She reached out and gently touched Ethan's sealed bite wound. Her claws were careful. She inhaled deeply. Then she straightened and made a deep, powerful call that echoed across the land. The pack responded together. Ethan did not understand the words, but he understood the tone. A decision had been made. They escorted him, not as a prisoner but not as a guest, toward their settlement hidden among massive stone arches. Along the way, Ethan noticed something strange. Dangerous creatures moved away from the pack's path. Predators that would have attacked him before now watched from afar and retreated. The huntress stayed close to Ethan's side. When he stumbled on rough ground, she steadied him without thinking. When another pack member moved too close, she growled sharply, stopping them. She was guarding him. The settlement was large. Carved stone shelters, fire pits, and markings painted in natural dyes covered the walls. This was not a primitive tribe. This was a society built on survival and memory. Ethan was brought to a wide open space in the center. The elders formed a circle. The huntress stepped into the center with him. The elder female spoke, her voice low and steady. She gestured toward Ethan, then to the sky, then to the ground. The huntress answered, placing a hand over her heart. The elders watched Ethan closely. Then came the first test. They led him to a narrow path between sharp stones. Heat rose from the ground. The air burned his lungs. Others had passed through before. Some markings showed claw scratches and blood. Endurance. Ethan walked, slowly, carefully. He fell once and scraped his knee. He stood again. No one helped him, but no one rushed him either. When he reached the end, the pack did not cheer. They nodded. The second test came at night. A young pack member lay injured near the edge of the settlement, hurt during a hunt. The wound was bad. They watched Ethan. He understood. He knelt beside the injured alien and opened his medical kit. The pack murmured nervously. Humans were unknown, soft, weak, too fragile to survive here. Ethan ignored the fear and worked. He cleaned the wound, used sealant, stabilized the injury. He stayed until the pain eased and the bleeding stopped. When he finished, he leaned back, exhausted. The injured alien lived. The pack was silent. The elder female stepped forward and placed her hand on Ethan's shoulder. Acceptance. The third test came without warning. A roar split the night. A massive predator burst from the darkness, drawn by the lights and scent of blood. It was larger than any of the pack members, armored with thick plates and a crushing jaw. Chaos erupted. Warriors moved to attack, but the beast was fast, too fast. It lunged toward the injured pack member. Ethan moved. He did not think. He grabbed a flare from his kit and ignited it, throwing it directly at the predator's face. Light and sound exploded. The beast recoiled, stunned. Ethan stood between it and the injured alien, heart hammering, hands shaking but firm. The pack attacked together, driving the predator away. When it was over, the warriors stared at Ethan. He had no claws, no armor, yet he stood. The elder raised her voice. "The alpha stands when others fall," she declared. Ethan did not understand the words, but he understood the meaning. That night the huntress sat beside him near the fire. She offered him food, carefully prepared for his weaker body. Ethan accepted. He looked at the stars above the alien sky. "I didn't ask for this," he said quietly. The huntress did not understand his words, but she understood the weight behind them. She touched his arm gently. Far away, other packs watched from the shadows. Word spread fast. A soft-skinned outsider had been bitten. He healed instead of killed. He stood when fear came. The pack had chosen, and the galaxy was about to learn something dangerous. Humans did not need to dominate to lead. They only needed to protect. The land did not stay quiet for long. 2 days after Ethan's trials, the wind carried a new scent into the Stone Valley. The pack felt it before they saw anything. Warriors lifted their heads. Low growls rolled through the settlement. Danger was coming. Ethan noticed the change at once. The huntress stiffened beside him, her ears turning toward the distant hills. The elders gathered, speaking in sharp, urgent tones. This was not a natural predator. This was organized. Scouts returned at sunset, moving fast and silent. They brought bad news. A rival clan was approaching. They were stronger, larger in number, and known for one thing only: taking land and breaking packs that showed weakness. They had seen the lights of the settlement. They had smelled the strange outsider. They believed this pack was divided. They were wrong. Ethan listened as the elders spoke. He did not understand the words, but he understood the fear. The injured were not fully healed. The huntress was still weak. Many warriors bore old wounds. The rival clan would attack at dawn. Some of the younger warriors looked at Ethan. This was his moment to command. But Ethan did not raise his voice. He did not shout orders. He stepped forward slowly and placed his hand over his chest, then pointed at the wounded, the young, and the elders. Then he pointed to himself. A simple message: "I will stand in front." The huntress's eyes widened. The elder female studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Preparation began. Ethan worked through the night. He helped move the injured to safer caves. He taught the warriors how to use fire flares as distraction weapons. He showed them how to place stones to narrow attack paths. No one laughed at his ideas. They listened, because he stayed, because he worked beside them. When dawn came, the rival clan arrived. They emerged from the fog like living shadows, taller, broader, covered in battle scars. Their leader roared a challenge that shook the stone pillars. Ethan stood at the front, unarmed. The rival leader laughed, a harsh, mocking sound. He pointed at Ethan and spoke loudly, his voice full of contempt. The huntress translated with her body language alone: weak, soft, prey. The rival leader stepped forward, claws flexing. Ethan did not retreat. He met the alien's gaze calmly. Then the attack began. The rival clan charged. Stones fell. Traps slowed their advance. Fire flares burst into light, confusing and blinding them. The defending pack struck from both sides, fast and coordinated. Still, the enemy was strong. They broke through the first line. A young pack member fell. Ethan moved instantly. He dragged the fallen warrior to safety, placing himself between the enemy and the injured. A heavy blow struck his side, throwing him to the ground. Pain flashed through his body. He struggled to rise. The huntress saw him fall. Fear turned into rage. She leaped into battle, fighting beyond her injuries. The pack followed. The rival leader pushed through the chaos, aiming straight for Ethan. He raised his claw to strike. Ethan did the only thing he could. He stood. He met the blow with his forearm brace and shoved a flare directly into the rival leader's chest. The light exploded. The rival leader screamed and staggered back. The pack surged forward together, driving him away. The battle ended quickly after that. The rival clan retreated, dragging their wounded, their confidence shattered. Silence fell. Ethan dropped to his knees, exhausted, bleeding but alive. The pack surrounded him, not testing, not watching, guarding. The elder female stepped forward and raised her voice so all could hear. "He stood when fear came," she declared. "He healed when others abandoned." She placed a small carved symbol into his hand, the Alpha mark. Ethan closed his fingers around it. "I don't know if I can be what you think I am," he said quietly. She looked at him and made a soft sound of understanding. He already was. Far away, watchers observed from the darkness. Signals were sent. Records updated. A human had become alpha of a non-human pack, not through force, but through protection. The galaxy would hear of this, and some would fear it. Others would want to learn. Ethan stared up at the alien sky, stars burning bright. Humanity had taken another step into the universe, not as conquerors, but as leaders who stood when others could not. The morning after the battle felt different. The land itself seemed calmer, as if the stones and wind had accepted a new truth. Sunlight spread slowly across the valley, touching the scars of the fight and turning them into quiet memories. Ethan woke beside the central fire. For a moment he forgot where he was. Then he felt the ache in his body, the bandages on his side, the weight in his chest that was not pain, but responsibility. The pack was already awake. They moved around him with purpose. No one stared. No one tested him. They simply worked, hunted, repaired, and guarded, as if this was how it had always been. The elder female approached him slowly. In her hands was a long strip of woven fiber marked with symbols burned into it. She placed it around Ethan's forearm, the same arm that had been bitten. A sign. The Alpha mark worn openly. The pack gathered and lowered their heads, not out of fear, out of trust. Ethan stood. He looked at them, warriors, hunters, elders, young ones, and felt something deep and steady settle inside him. He did not feel like a king. He felt like a shield. The huntress stepped forward and stood at his side. Her wounds were healing well now. Her eyes were bright and steady. She lifted her voice and spoke to the pack. Though Ethan could not understand the words, he understood the meaning. She told them of the healer who stayed, of the soft-skinned outsider who stood in front of danger, of the alpha who protected without demanding anything in return. The pack answered with a single deep sound that echoed through the valley. Acceptance. Days passed. Ethan learned their ways and they learned his. He taught them simple human tools, better bindings, improved shelter layouts, safer fire use. In return, they taught him how to move through the land without being seen, how to read the wind, how to listen to the ground. The pack grew stronger. So did Ethan. Then the sky changed. A shape appeared among the clouds, smooth, metallic, and very human. A scout ship. Ethan's heart raced. Human signals had finally been detected. The ship circled once, then landed far from the settlement. Armed humans stepped out, cautious and alert. They froze when they saw Ethan walking toward them, followed by an entire alien pack. Weapons lifted. Ethan raised his hands quickly. "Don't," he said firmly. "They're not hostile." They did not move. They trusted him. The commander lowered her weapon slowly. Word spread fast. Within days, more ships arrived. Scientists, diplomats, observers. The galaxy took notice. A human had become alpha of a non-human pack, not by conquest but by healing and protection. Some alien factions were uneasy. Others were curious. A few were afraid. The rival clan watched from afar, unwilling to challenge the alpha who stood with fire and calm eyes. The elders of the pack met with human representatives. Slowly, carefully, Ethan stood between worlds. He spoke for the pack when they could not. He spoke for humanity when fear rose. Agreements were made, borders drawn, respect earned. One night Ethan stood at the edge of the valley looking at the stars. The huntress joined him, silent as always. "I didn't plan this," he said quietly. "I just didn't want you to die." The conclusion spread fast. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was dangerous in a new way, because when humans chose to protect, entire worlds followed them. Ethan looked back at the settlement, at the pack, at the fires, at the future being built stone by stone. He stayed, not as a ruler, but as an alpha who healed first.